Okie doke. Let's try this again. Oh my goodness, it's blinding. First book I read this week. This is, by the way, not a reading vlog. All the vlogging I did is for other videos or just, it wasn't good. So, first book I read this week is one that already has a video up about it. Bringing Books to the Ozarks. It's delightful. It has a video up about it. I'm not going to talk about it much. Now, I'm not going in order of books I've read them. I'm going in order of weird. So, I won't say this. One of the other books I read this week, the only other book I actually own, is The Lady of the Vineyard by Kellyanne Roth. It's an indie novel. It's okay. I knew it was just going to be okay when I went into it because it's the story of a lady and a little bit about her little girl. And I'm just not interested in ladies who are finally growing up and taking care of their little girls. I'm interested in little girls having adventures. So, it was an okay book, but it wasn't, everything I want in a book. Because it just wasn't my type of book. So check it out if you like a romance, like a redemption-ish story. Anyhow, next up is this The Gamage Cup by Carol Kendall. Now I'm going into classics that I read. Because this is an Odyssey classic, and I enjoyed it's a Newbery Honor book, and yada yada. Anyhow, it's this hilarious middle grade fantasy-ish alternate. I would say alternate, but it's not an alternate one. Anyhow, there's the mini pins, or the small ones, and then there's the mushrooms, and the mini pins are the good guys, and they're just, peaceful people who trying to happy live their lives, and the mushrooms are coming to attack them, but the outlaws save the day, and, it is what it is. It's fun. It's funny. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the world. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the plot, but at the same time, I really, really did. But, I don't know, I just feel like I can't describe it. I can't, tell you how great it was. But I do recommend if you're looking for a slightly unique fantasy with, those touches of the real world that kind of, not understanding of the modern world. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those fantasies where they don't understand the modern world. Because they're not part of the modern world. But the modern world is there. So, The Gamage Cup. Next classic I read is Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farms by Kate Douglas Wiggin. This is an amazing classic I think more people should talk about, because it's kind of like Anne of Green Gables, except not at all like Anne of Green Gables, because there's absolutely no romance, yeah. And, Rebecca is one of 7, and she has dark hair, and she goes to live with her 2 aunts, and it came out, and she lives in America, and it came out before Anne of Green Gables, so I don't know why I'm describing it to Anne of Green Gables. I should compare Anne of Green Gables to it, not it to Anne of Green Gables, but it's great. I mean, I guess there's this maybe romance-ish. Next up, kind of classic, I don't know, The Blind Connemara by C.W. Anderson. What to say about it? It's the story of a blind pony and a girl who takes care of it, and I'm not sure if it's fiction or non-fiction. I couldn't figure it out. It's in the junior fiction section, so that implies that it's fiction, but at the same time, if it's fiction, it's probably one of those fictions where it's yes, the exact details are fiction, but, this is what happens to a blind horse. Or this is not what happens to a blind horse. This is it, but it's what could happen to a blind horse. Except for, it's exciting and hopeful because it's a book, so. Actually, I could see it happening too. Kind of. I mean, the ending's a bit of a stretch, but it's a really good story. If you like horses, I would check it out. Next up, the two more recent books. I'm going to start with one I didn't like, because that's what you do. I didn't really care that much for Beastly Bones, because, I didn't care that much for Beastly Bones. I did like it more than I liked Jacoby, the first one in the series. I mean, I think that's probably as much because this one has, like, dragon in it, and the first one doesn't, and I like dragons. So I did like this one more, but I'm not going to be, like, searching it out. I don't know, it's weird. If you've heard of it, you've heard of it, haven't, look it up. Oh, I can't describe it. I don't care for it that much, though. And then I read Almost American Girl by Robin Ha. This is a graphic memoir. No, that does not sound good. It's, kind of like a graphic novel, but a memoir. And I like the illustrations. I like, Robin's, during the, events of the memoir, her, like, a stance on K-pop, because she's Korean, who came to America, and, I feel like she talks about the problems that Korea has and America has, and she talks about how hard it was for her not speaking English well, and I think it brings up something I think a lot of people need to realize is, I think a lot of Americans, at least me, are willing to slow down and, try harder, but we need to be told that we're going too fast, that we're talking in slang, that we aren't making sense, because then, at least I'm willing to slow down and, explain myself. But if you don't tell me, I'm gonna just be talking, in slang, in problematic, not proper English, because Americans don't talk good English to understand it. We talk fast. We talk, in slang. And so we need to be called out on this. And be like, slow down, explain yourself. I have no idea what that means. And I really appreciate that she's kind of talking about it, and so I highly recommend this. You should read it. And yeah, I'm a bit disappointed about some details in this, but mainly it's minor ones. Like the fact that she made up a comic book series that doesn't exist. I also started this. This is the most. I'm only through part 1 of part. How many parts does this thing have? It's a lot. Part 5. I'm read part 1 of 5, and this is definitely a adult book, and by adult I mean kids should not be reading this. So, Priscilla, The Hidden Life of an English Woman in Wartime France by Nicholas Shakespeare. I bought it because it sounded interesting, and it still sounds interesting, but yeah, it's kind of mature, very mature sounding. So I would say that's what I've been reading, but I've also been reading the Bible. Oh, wait a second. I forgot to mention, I read an ebook this week. No audiobooks. I read Bringing Books to the Ozarks instead. But I read an ebook this week. And it's the first time in a while that I've finished an ebook. I've started, well, not super long, I guess, but it feels like a while. So I finished, I read, I started, shoot, I forget its name.
So let's take a moment to break from that to show you what I did instead of editing. I read and experimented around and had fun, and I didn't edit. Oops!
I started Intangible Piercing the Veil by T.A. Gray. That's actually not the cover I read, but not gonna fight Goodreads on cover appearance. That's stressful. Anyhow, I greatly enjoyed it. Really thought it was funny and nerve-wracking. It's a King Arthur, if it was real and he didn't properly get rid of the bad guys. Now the modern people need to, figure it out. And there's a prophecy, and the prophecy is, I was like, okay, I know none of these characters are the prophesied one. I was like, this is cool. But then the ending changed it. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh no. No. Because there's a character who's had like a miserable life, and I'm afraid his life is going to just keep, and he's in a miserable situation right now, and I'm afraid it's going to keep getting worse, and then he's going to end up dying, and I don't want that to happen. I mean, right now nobody's died, but it's book 1 of the series. Nobody's died. I mean, lots of people have died. Oh, I don't know how to explain this series. Like, none of the main modern characters have died, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to see if the library has the rest of the series, and if not, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe. But yeah, it's really great. I highly recommend you to check it out. And that's what I've been reading. I haven't started anything other than Priscilla. So, bye. Do the YouTube things. Do you know what I forgot to mention? I forgot to mention that I'm still reading The Lord of the Rings. I am 5 pages from the index. And I've been reading it while I'm at work. And just like 5 minutes before closing, so people came in and wanted to buy like 9 pop. It's super surprising, but it's still so yeah, I'm 5 pages away from finishing The Lord of the Rings. I'm excited. That's Appendix E, Part 2, I believe. That's all that's left. On translations. The exciting part. Alright, do the YouTube things. Bye.